All right. A few. What's up, Audrey? Hi. What are you doing? All right. So, which do we want to get done first? We want to get done this one first. Okay, so now we need you guys. Hey Wilma, how you doing? It's good to see ya. What's new and exciting? What, Audrey? My cat Audrey is begging for attention, and I am going to work on replicating this side on this side. So I'm going to work on that. So we don't have a specific project that we're going to be working on today. I just couldn't bring myself to start another project that probably wasn't going to get finished, to have another half-finished project sitting around. I just couldn't do it. Hey Elizabeth, how you doing? Oh, whereabouts are you, Wilma? I'm in Ontario, and holy cow, this heat is something else. How are you doing, Elizabeth? Are you surviving the heat all right? I just can't get over how muggy it is. It's so humid. So in between, so I'm going to work on finishing replicating this side, then I'll set that to dry, and then I'm going to continue to work on the chakra stones that I started last week. So I figure because I just couldn't, like I said, I couldn't bring myself to start a whole brand new project that was probably going to sit around and not get finished. So I thought I might as well just kind of open it up for some Q&A kind of stuff. Gran Canaria. Oh, you must be cooking. Yeah, it's hot here. Hey, Barb. Good to see ya. Even if you're just popping in for a little bit, it's good to see ya. All right, so I need my middle blue, which is this one. So I figured while I'm just kind of working on these projects and kind of getting this stuff together, it's a good opportunity for just kind of some open floor chit chat questions kind of stuff. And just kind of make it a Q&A today. So if you have questions about projects that you're working on, questions about things that you want to try, questions about technique, then we can definitely do that. Otherwise, I'll just kind of ramble on as I normally do and talk my way through these projects and just hang out with you guys for today. Always cover up some good information. Anyone else cutting out? Oh. Oh, Molly, have a wonderful time. Good luck. Kick some ass. Sell all your stuff. I hope it's wonderful. Hi, Anna. I'm showing a solid signal here, Elizabeth. That doesn't necessarily mean anything, but anybody else having any issues with connection? You're going to do great, Molly. You are going to do absolutely wonderful. You just be you and talk to people, and you're going to do fantastic. Are you teaching workshops today, too? You're going to do great. No? Okay. Poor Elizabeth. Short end of the stick where connection is concerned today, eh? So replicating these designs has been an interesting endeavor to try and remember what tools I'm using, and B, trying to get placement and stuff. So I'll definitely share some of that too. Yeah, you're totally gonna kill it. Hi, Janice. Have to leave soon, but can I just say how much I love this piggy bank? Oh, thank you. The pink one is completely done except for the little design and signature by the tail. I'm going to finish this one. And I have the purple one to do, and they're already sold, which is really exciting. It is a really exciting prospect to know that they're already sold, which is fun. So now I have to figure out... Workshops are happening next Saturday. Okay, gotcha. Keeps cutting. That's really weird. That's really weird. Yeah, see if that helps, Elizabeth. That's really strange. Thanks, Molly. Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really excited. My friends came out of the woodwork and just said, I want those. Are those for sale? When can I buy them? I'm like, if you want them, I will sell them to you. So that was really fun. It's always fun. So now I need to get them done, right? Which will be incredibly helpful. When you paint on a surface like that one you're doing today, do you put a clear coat over them? No, I don't. So what I do when I'm painting on ceramics or glass, I use multi-surface acrylic paints. Multi-surface acrylic paints are designed to adhere to surfaces like this that are smoother and don't have, you know, and that aren't porous. And then these paints will actually cure to be top shelf dishwasher safe after I bake them. So now, not that you're going to be putting a piggy bank in the dishwasher, most likely, but that will cure them to make them really nice and durable. So multi-surface acrylic paints are the fix for that. Now, Mod Podge has a dishwasher safe coating. It takes 21 days to cure. These acrylic multi-surface acrylic paints take 21 or 28 days to cure if you let them air dry, or you can bake them and you get the same kind of finish as the dishwasher safe Mod Podge stuff. So I just bake them and let them cure that way. It's super fun, Molly. It's super fun, you know. You know how good it feels. So nice, eh? Okay, so now I need to go up a size. To a 9? Or is that a 10? Let's go for a 9. You're most welcome, Marianne. Any questions at all, you guys? Today is the Q&A day, so if there's any questions that have been on your mind or that you'd like to know the answer to, I will do my absolute best to answer those for you. So this multi-surface acrylic paint is the same stuff that I use on my mugs. And again, I'd use them on glass, anything that's non-porous, right? So I'd even use them on metal, that sort of stuff. Yeah, it feels really nice when you're painting something and people want it, right? That always feels good. The design that I'm using on these piggy banks is very much inspired by an artist called Fine Rosa. She's incredibly generous and kind and talented, and she has shown me an awful lot of love, and she's kind of that artist that one of those artists anyway, that I look at where I'm just like, oh my God, I want to be just like her when I grow up. And she's one of the many artists that made me want to keep, you know, honing my skill and learning more and all of that. And I'm very pleased with myself for the growth in my skill, but I know that it's because I've got artists like that to look up to, right? So this is very much a Fine Rosa inspired design that's going on all three of these piggy banks. And I love this design so much. When I sit down and do this base design, it really only takes me about an hour to get the whole design down. Like the whole other side took me about an hour. Now that's an hour painting by myself with my music on, nice and focused, right? So that makes a big difference. But it's a nice design and it looks really pretty and delicate. So I'm definitely going to be translating this design onto some other things over the next little while too. Fine Rosa, if you're ever looking for color inspiration, Fine Rosa is a really good place to go. Oh, Elizabeth, I'm so sorry. That's so awful. I'm sorry to hear that. I wish I knew what was going on. I'm sorry, love. All right, so I'm just going to change my tool here. Hi, Kavitha. How you doing? Bye, Molly. Good luck. Kick some ass. You got this. You're going to do absolutely amazing. And we are all sending you so much love and hopes for tons of success. Tons and tons of success. You're going to do great. So any questions that anybody has, please don't hesitate to ask. I'll just kind of talk a little bit about this. You got some video freezes, but it came back. Okay. All right. That's good. All right. Well, keep doing the best we can, right? We're hostage to technology sometimes. Oh, good, Kavitha. I'm glad you're doing good. It's good to see ya. So multi-surface paints, one of the important things to know about multi-surface paints is that before you bake them, you want to leave the whole piece a full 24 hours before you put it in the oven. If you put it in the oven sooner, then you are risking bubbling. And let me tell you, the devastation that bubbling, when you put in a piece into the oven and it looks perfect and you're really happy with it, and then you pull it out of the oven and it has bubbled, it is absolutely devastating. Really devastating. At least I found it was. So it's incredibly important. If you don't want that bubbling to happen, then you need to leave it a full 24 hours before you put it in the oven. Okay, so, and if you want to put top dots on, then you need to not put the top dots on until your first layer has has dried for a full 24 hours as well. Okay, so what I've been doing with these piggy banks, because I'm painting both sides, is I paint one side, then I let it dry for 24 hours, because then I know it's dry enough that I can pick it up and I can touch the other side without screwing anything up. Right? So I leave it for 24 hours, then I paint the second side, and at the same time as I paint the second side, actually no, I've been, I used, on the first one I did, I waited and I left the top dots until I was done both sides. So it's a full kind of week-long project, but just because of the drying time, right? Making sure that it's good and dry. The reason I leave it 24 hours between the base layer and any top dots, or between any layers, multiple layers of top dots, is again so that it can fully dry, so that once I've gotten to the end and it's ready to go into the oven, I've given everything as much opportunity as humanly possible to dry. To reduce the chance of that bubbling. 75th birthday. Happy 75th birthday, Dad. Oh, that's wonderful. I hope you had a great time. Did he get spoiled? And did he get showered with lots of love? I hope so. Well, we missed you, but that is definitely, I'm glad that you had a celebration last weekend. That's wonderful. Presented him a beautiful dot painting board. Oh, that's so amazing. Oh, did he love it? Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. That's wonderful. That makes my heart super happy. The piggy banks. So I am selling them for $54. Swatch up here. Let's see. Oh, I'm so glad you had such a good time. That's so wonderful to hear. That's awesome. 75 years. I'm excited to celebrate my 75th birthday someday. I want to live a really long time. Used only gold, copper. Ooh, that must be beautiful. Lots of shimmer and sparkle in it. Oh, that'd be gorgeous, Kavitha. It looks so rich and fancy. That's awesome. Metallics are fun to play with, aren't they? Hi, Jill. No, I just have the one. I'm going to be going around to as many different Dollaramas as I can possibly hit tomorrow, which, so I'm going in to see Mom and Dad tomorrow, and then on my way home, I'm going to hit a whole bunch of Dollaramas. I've got about 8 different Dollaramas that I can check in at, because if I can find more of these piggy banks, I want to do more. I really, really, really want to do more. They're super fun to paint. So I'm hoping to get more. But at this particular time, unfortunately, I only had the 3. The day that I found them, I cleared their shelves. I took all 3. They only had 3 on the shelves, and I took them all. I'll keep you posted, though, if I get more. That I promise. You will see a post with me celebrating that I got more piggy banks. That's okay, Kavitha. If you want to, if you want to share it with me or with us, you can post it on. Are you a member of the Facebook group? Because if you are, you can post it there if you want to, or you're more than you. If you want to just share it privately with me, you can send it to me in a message. Either way is good. Thanks, Marianne. Bye, Barb. Sending you lots and lots of love. Miss ya. Hope you have a good time at the lake. Say hi to your sister. And give the puppers a kiss for me. And Audrey's long-lost twin. Audrey's long-lost brother. Barb has a cat that looks totally like could be Audrey's long-lost relative. There we go. Oh, awesome. Yeah, show it off, Kavitha. Show it off. All right. So now, so I'm constantly referencing back and forth, right, to see. So now I'm going to do those little silver dots. I really want to do a whole piece with this particular silver color, but I have very, very little of it left. So I am absolutely terrified to overuse it. So I'm being very strategic with when I use it and what I use it for, because I mean, like, look at that, right? It's just, it's delicious. And to see that that's the way it turns out, like, can you imagine a great big piece done with a whole bunch of that silver? Oh, be delicious. Hey, Paula. How you doing? It's good to see ya. So for today, I don't have a specific project that we're going through as far as like a tutorial. This is just a Q&A today. I was saying that I couldn't bring myself to start another project that probably wasn't going to get finished when I have so many half-finished projects lying around. So I figured that this is good to do every once in a while, just to have an open forum Q&A kind of situation that isn't necessarily specific project based, and then just talk about what I'm working on or answer any questions about anything that you guys are working on. So that's kind of the deal for today. So I'm going to work on this. I'm also going to work on the chakra stones again a little bit. And we may mix colors for the purple piggy bank, but I'm not sure. Not sure yet. Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, this is of course one of the Martha Stewart paints, right? That you can't get anymore. And as soon as that rebranding happens and she's back out on the market again, you can bet your bottoms that I will be running around to wherever I need to go to try and find this color again. And I will buy them out because I don't ever want to run out of this color. I think it's my absolute favorite. So fingers crossed that will happen again soon. Aren't the striations gorgeous? Like when you kind of swirl it around, it looks magical. It looks like a little portal. Like I'd be interested in seeing other colors with that behave similarly to this silver one. Like imagine a teal or a blue or a magenta or a purple, and it could literally look like a time traveling portal. It would be so pretty. All right, time for some swoops. Oh, it's not Martha Stewart. Ooh, yes, please let me know. Let me know. You know where I found some really beautiful paints that I was absolutely flabbergasted that I found paints there? On Zulily. Zulily's an online shopping site, if you aren't familiar with it. And I thought they only had clothes and shoes and stuff, but holy cow, they've got some beautiful iridescent metallic acrylic paints. I don't think they're multi-surface, but oh, they're so pretty. So there will be a shopping spree at some point there for that too. There's some stuff on the camper that needs to be done before I can do that, and I should probably use up some of the stuff I already have. However, someday. All right, so let's do some swoops here. I apologize for the glare. I am going to work on my lighting eventually as well. See if I can't get some better lighting figured out. Now, one thing that I've gone back to recently is doing all of one side of a part of a design. So instead of doing this side of the swoop and immediately going in and doing the other side, I'm just going to do all of that one side. And the reason is that I really want to try and develop some muscle memory, and I've started to recognize that when I'm switching back and forth all of the time, the consistency in my design and the consistency in, just the symmetry and all of that really has not been behaving the way that I would like it to. I haven't been creating it the way that I would really like to, compared to doing it this way. So it's not what everybody does. It's not what everybody needs to do, but it's definitely something to kind of feel for in yourself and feel like, am I getting frustrated that all of my swoops on one side aren't looking the same? And if you get that kind of frustration, that's when you say, okay, well, I'm just going to do all of that one side. You don't have to change your hand placement. You don't have to change the angle that you're painting on. And that can allow you to kind of get into that nice repetitive flow. And that repetitive flow is really such a bonus and such a big part of the benefits of this art form, right? Like in the post that I put up this morning, I really do want to kind of touch on the mental health benefits that an art form like this has, especially if you are someone that has a hard time quieting your mind, right? Quieting your mind is meditation, or focusing on something benign is actually meditation, right? Like focusing on a fan. Trying to stop thought entirely in meditation is just too much of an ask. So finding something that you can focus on that's fairly benign, that doesn't really have a negative to it, can be incredibly beneficial. I say all the time that this art form saved my life, and I completely stand by that. And one of the ways that helps is to get into these repetitive bits of flow, right? To be able to just kind of go on automatic and just sink into that repetitiveness. It's very, very meditative. And the more you can give your brain that break to focus on something at the very least neutral, if not positive, right? Because this is a very gratifying art form too, when it starts to build and you start to see the design come to life. But none of that is going to work for you if you don't enjoy it, right? You need to enjoy it. And if you enjoy it, then the practice comes easy. Your skill will develop quicker because you're just going to want to spend more time doing it. And that's practice, right? And if you start to feel some mental health benefits from it too, then that is a win-win in my mind anyway. You'll notice with these particular swoops, I'm swooping from the bottom and pushing the paint upwards. And that's, again, just something that you can kind of play with to see what feels comfortable for you. I find it easier to pull up and to the right than it is to push down and to the left. That's possibly because I'm right-handed, could be just other muscle memory in there that's kind of taken over, but play around with it and do it however it is comfortable for you, okay? Oh, I'm so glad, Mary. And that's the other nice part, right? Sometimes just watching this stuff is meditative, and if it can help you relax, absolute gold. Absolute gold. All right, here we go. So, swoop number 2. So this side is almost done. We're getting really close to this side being done. There's a big part of me that's saying in my mind, screw the chakra stones, or the chakra stones. I keep having to practice that. Do the purple. Work on the purple. So we might. We'll see. Do you do the same with your swoops too, Christy? So if you guys don't already know Christy, Christy is, I consider, one of the best friends that you could ever ask for. And she is just love and light and just wonderful to be around. And she has started doing this dot painting too. If you guys have ever heard me talk about going to music trivia with friends, going into downtown Toronto to do trivia and stuff, it's Christy and our friend Kathy that we go and do that with. But she has, you should see the works of art that she's created. And thankfully she shares them on the Facebook group so we can see and watch her growing with her new skill. And she's thoroughly enjoying it. Down on the right, up on the left. Yes. So much easier. So much easier. I love you too, Christy. I miss ya. We'll get you out for a visit soon. And maybe we can start going to like those retro movie nights again or something. We'll figure something out. But so she's been starting to do this too. So if you're creating and you want to share, the Facebook group is a great place to do that. And she's feeling the mental health benefits of doing this too. And that's wonderful. It's saving you too. It's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing how something that sounds so simple can have such a profound effect on quality of life, really, right? You're giving yourself permission to do something that you enjoy for no other reason, just that you enjoy it. And that alone is a huge, huge bit of self-care. Huge. Say, I'm going to do something just because I like it and for no other reason. I'm just going to do it because I like it and it makes me happy. It's wonderful. So this dragging technique of swoops is something that I've only started doing really over the last few months. What I used to do is drop down the paint with a nail dotting stylus tool and then use a pin at the end of an eraser to pull the paint down into the swoop shape. On the ceramics, doing this drag with the tool itself is really nice and smooth. So it's very satisfying too. But the thing to remember with swoops, if your swoops are not turning out the way that you want to, slow down. When in doubt, even if you think that there's no possible way you could go any slower, slow down, right? Make sure that you are giving yourself that time to coax the paint in the direction you want it to go, right? So make sure you're taking your time. So if you're getting frustrated with swoops, slow down. As slow as you can possibly go. I will show you on a bigger scale how slow some of these swoops can be. I was watching Art of Points, another incredible dot artist. She's from Germany. And watching the swoops that they were doing and just thinking, oh my gosh, how are they doing that with the tool? I don't understand. And then they posted a real-time video of their swoops one day, and I got to see how slow they actually go. And it's pretty impressive how slow it really can be, right? So I'm just going to show you on here. And I'll just grab the white just so it shows up because I can clean this off after. But if I wanted to do a long straight swoop, right? Really slow. Okay, that's the kind of speed you're looking at. So, and maybe even slower. So if you think you're going as slow as you possibly can, try and slow it down even more and at least practice that for a little bit, and you should see some changes in your swoops. It should make an impact for you. All right, so I'm going to switch to a smaller tool for these last couple swoops. I have done a really crappy job lately of keeping my tools clean. I'm going to have to do a big clean. And I'm going to definitely have to get another light because this ring light right above me is not making me happy. And up until this blue one too, I'd only ever done swoops by starting with the middle and then working my way outwards. So doing a long swoop in the middle and then adding shorter swoops down the sides to create kind of like a flower petal or a fan almost. So doing them backwards like this, starting at the bottom and moving upwards, has been actually really fun. Nice and different. Let's see if I can get that. I wonder if I zoom in, if that'll help at all with the glare. One of the things that can come in handy as well is to get yourself a really cheap canvas or wood panel or something from the dollar store and have that be your test canvas. It can help you play with new paints when you get them. It can help you practice new techniques and give you that practice space so you're not practicing on a piece. So having a test canvas that you can kind of play around with can be kind of your best friend as well. I've used a lot of test canvas space practicing with the painting bottles. That's another unfinished project too, is that table. I have to pour some resin tomorrow night too. I'm going to be covering the beige table with resin, and I'm doing another pour of resin on the first rainbow table. So I'm going back to the Art Resin Studios on Tuesday in Hamilton to finish up our filming. So I'm super excited. I can't wait until that video stuff is done. I can't wait to share that with you guys. I think it's going to be pretty cool. Looking at the videos that they've done with other artists, I'm super excited. And I think I'm going to be going back quite often. We had a lot of ideas from the last visit, so I'm sure it will be the same again this time. All right, almost done. Just have the last little silver dot at the top of these swoops. And then the blue is done for 24 hours, and then I can come in and do top dots tomorrow night. So anybody who's just joining, the reason that I wait the full 24 hours is to give this stuff ample time to dry, because if you don't let it dry, then it can bubble when you bake it to cure it. So definitely give it a full 24 hours in between each layer of paint. So if you decide to do 3 layers of top dots, then you've got 3 days of waiting, right? Day 1 is layer 1, day 2, and so on and so forth, right? I feel like that's coming up. Oh no, maybe it's about the same. Maybe a little bit closer. So any questions that anybody has, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm in the process as well of getting inventory kind of built up, because I'm doing a market at the end of August. If you are in Ontario near Haute Goat, they are having an artisan fair and market on August the 29th from 11 a.m. until 6 p.m. And I'm going to be there for the day with them. It is going to be a very Mickey Mouse setup, as I don't have a tent, I don't have banners, I don't have signage, I don't have any of that stuff. So but it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. There's going to be some cool artists and some cool vendors there. So, yeah, that's coming up. So I want to try and make as much inventory as I can to be able to take lots of stuff with me. It would be nice to have a nice successful day. Mary, what tips do you have for making the point at the very end of the swoops? Sometimes they have kind of a square end. Really, really good question. So if you get to the end of your swoop, this is one of my favorite tools. This is a pencil. I took an old sewing pin, I snipped it in half, and I shoved it into the eraser. This is one of my favorite tools, because this can help you move the paint around, right? Oh no, oh no. Oh, I just stuck my finger in a dot. Oh, poop. Oh well, all right, I can fix that after. I'm gonna move this out of the way before I really do any damage. So let me just spin that and get it out of the way. So putting a swoop down and then using the pin to pull that paint down can make a really big difference for you. It can help you create that nice point at the end. So I'm going to set up this. So this was from last week. We started on these chakra stones. I hope that answered your question, Mary. If it didn't, let me know, because we can always talk about it a bit more. Now these numbers that are underneath here, I've got sets of stones that I have already kind of put together with like similar sized, so that I know which set of stones these belong to. So this just belongs to set number 1. It has nothing to do with the size or anything. So, okay, let me grab something that I can do a test, and I'm going to show you that, Mary, so you can see what that looks like, because that might help a lot. If you are going to do the drag technique, if you're going to do the drag, right? So I'm going to dip and I'm going to drag. usually when you get to the end, if you lift your tool up too soon, you will end up with a square end. So your options are to either make a longer swoop with the amount of paint that you have, or to reduce the amount of paint. So if you want to create a small swoop, I'm using the exact same tool, but with just a little bit of a different amount of paint. You can see the difference in the size of the swoop. Now, the other thing that makes a difference too is your speed, right? Because I go faster. The faster I go, the shorter that swoop is, right? So the trick really is being able to follow through in the movement and not having to stop your swoop like here, because then you'll end up with that square, right? So if I go here, I want to be able to follow through with that stroke as much as I possibly can. So I hope that that helps. So the biggest thing is it's going to depend on the amount of paint that you have, right? Because if I have a huge chunk of paint and I do my swoop and I only want the swoop that long and I lift it up, it's got a square tip, right? As opposed to if I want to just really follow through with that stroke will help you to get the point at the end. That's what I'm trying to say. I hope that that helps a little bit more. Let me know, because we can go over it more. And Paula has an unrelated question about varnish. Hit me, Paula. What you got? What you got? What you want to know? Oh my God, and I've got to show you guys the little bags that I got today for the chakra stones. For these stone sets. Look at these cute little linen bags that I found at Dollarama. Aren't they just the cutest? So I got 2 sets of the beige, different sizes, and then I got, are you ready? So these were $1.25 for 3 little bags, and then I got these navy blue ones, and then I found another set that were $2 for 3 bags, so an extra 75 cents, but wait till you see them. Hang on, I'm just getting them out of the packaging. Wait till you see these guys. They're so freaking cute. This takes me back to the 90s. So big. Such a big time travel back to the 90s with these ones. Look at these little striped bags. Oh, that one's ripped. Oh, crap, I didn't see that. Oh, well. But look at those. Aren't they the cutest? I'm so excited. So I'm going to get a whole bunch of these to have them with me when I go to my market, because I can use them for necklace pendants, for all kinds of different stuff. So I'm going to be stocking up on those. Every time I go to a Dollarama, I'm going to be buying a whole bunch of those. I know, the little stripes, like they're just, oh, I just love them so much. But it does remind me of the 90s, like those old hoodies that you get that were like made of rope. That were so scratchy and rough with the hood and the pocket in the front. Is there a specific amount of time drying to wait before I varnish a canvas I've dotted? I would give it a good 24 hours. Just to be on the safe side, because sometimes depending on the varnish, if it's got a little bit of water in it, it can almost reactivate the paint and cause some smudging. So I would give the paint a good 24 hours minimum before varnishing a canvas. Just to be on the safe side. You might totally be fine with a little bit shorter amount of time, but I err on the side of paranoia. So, yeah, I would give that a bit of time. All right, so I've got my gold and I've got my red. So I'm going to go through now and I'm going to add these little red dots. Am I? No, I think I'm going to add some more swoops. So this little stone is pretty much done, right? But on these other ones that have a little bit more space, I can do a little bit more fancy schmanciness on those. And stone number 1 is done. So they don't all have to look the same, which is nice. It's just helpful sometimes. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm thinking. Paranoid and anxious to finish. And that's the really hard part. I would yeah, fight that anxiousness to finish it as much as you can and give it that full 24 hours. I don't think you have to wait any longer than 24 hours though, Paula. I think you're totally safe to just keep going after 24 hours, but I'd give it that time just to be on the safe side. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to do, oh, I got to stir this. Look at this, this really separated paint. So I got to give it a really good stir. I know this is going to shake the camera and I apologize. But look at how sparkly that is when it's nice and stirred. Some of these paints separate really badly, so you want to make sure that you're always stirring your paints if you've let them sit, even sometimes longer than a couple hours. Sometimes they'll separate really fast. Yeah. Feed the paranoia on this one, Paula, and give it that 24. Just to be safe. Just to be safe. All right, so how do I want to do this? Okay, I am going to do some petal design around these little swoops. This particular paint is also very thick. Sometimes paints just behave weirdly. I don't really know what the reason is for this, but sometimes they just behave really strange and they give you really, really tiny dots and they don't pick up the paint very well. And when you get into little stones like this too, it's all about where can I hold it so I can get this done too, right? So sometimes I will use a sponge to set my stone on so that I can go around and dot like this. Hi, Cindy. Hey, Kim. It's good to see you. Let's see if I can get a little bit more light on here. All right, so using this sponge helps me kind of spin it without having to pick it up and hold it too much. I can steady it with my hands, but I don't have to grip it. And that seems to make a difference for me. And keeps me from sticking my hand in the paint quite as often. Over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be starting on some Christmas ornaments as well. So this assembly line process that I use for these little stones is going to come in handy then too. So we had a great time at the mug painting party last night. It was really fun. We had some people that were new to the mug painting parties joined us. That was really nice. And what I'm going to be doing is you're going to see it change once I put up new listings for the next designs. They are going to not be mug painting parties. They are going to be paint with me parties. So this is the design we're going to do. You can do it on any surface that you want and start kind of walking through it that way and be able to kind of get some feedback as we go. So those painting parties are going to change just a little bit. I'll probably still do a lot of mugs. It's really the only time I paint mugs anymore is during the mug painting parties. Oops. That was way out there. That's okay. But you can, any of the designs that I do on any of those, on any of the mugs really can be done on any surface at all. There we go. And now I'm going to do a row of red. Ooh. My paints went all gummy. Look at all the gumminess. So I'm going to clean some of that out. Now when I started these, I have a darker red that I had started with, but it was a little more translucent than I wanted. So I've moved to the kind of medium red that I have here, and it seems to be much better. Reds are funny that way. I find that reds can be very translucent, which can be also very frustrating if that's not the look you're going for. That's the other benefit of the test canvas, right? Being able to just kind of put some paint down and see what it looks like after it dries. Color tests. I do a lot of color tests on a test canvas, just blocking out colors next to each other to see if I like the look of them. Because seeing them as wet paints is quite often very different than what they look like when they're dry. This is, especially in these little stones, this is where it gets really kind of finicky when you're trying not to touch any other wet paint on there. I also do paint parties in person. Yes. Well, and that's the thing, right? I want more people to feel that it's just a little more inclusive. Like, you don't have to paint on a mug. You don't have to have multi-surface paints. You can have Dollarama paints and some stones you found at the beach, and we can still have a great time, right? That's so cool that you do that in person. I want to start doing that in person, too. That's so fun. That is so fun. Do you have an ideal class size that you would get for that, Mary? Like, I'm still trying to figure out what the ideal class size is to still be able to do lots of interaction on the virtual ones. I'm hoping you can see this. I know it's not great lighting, so let me see if I can... I don't know if I can get any better lighting or not right now. Maybe if I just move over here a little bit. All right, well, doing our best. That's all we can do. Oops, way too much paint. Make sure you're cleaning off your tools very regularly, whether you're painting on stone or ceramic. The buildup of paint can and will impact the shape and size of your dots. Okay? It's a lot of fun. I live in a very small town, and oh, that's so nice. I have a max of 12s because of the space I have. Okay, good. That makes sense. That is so cool, Mary. What kind of painting do you teach? That's so awesome. I've done a couple of those like paint night parties, like at a Boston Pizza or a cafe or something, and they were always a lot of fun. I always just dread to have students that were like me though, because tend to be a little more disruptive sometimes. All right, so I'm gonna go with a larger gold dot again on this one, and go in here. Oops, I'm not in camera here. I used to do beading parties a while ago. I found that more than 6 people were spread too thin. Wah, wah, wah. I like the paint pen. That makes sense, though. Well, and that's the thing, right? I want to make sure that if and when I do them, that I pick a decent number that, you know, can make it a profitable evening, right? But at the same time, I don't want it to take away from the attention that I can give to each individual person, too. Mostly dotting on mugs, canvases, rocks. That's so awesome, Mary. I had a dream to have my own studio and it took a year and a half to convert an old garage. Oh, that's amazing, Mary. That's so cool. Oh, yeah. Anything's possible, right? If you want it bad enough, you can make it happen. There's almost always a way, right? That's so cool, Mary. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, so part of my assembly line process was that I'm supposed to be doing this same particular portion of the design on all of the pieces so that I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, get a whole bunch done, and then by the time I get back here, it's dry and ready for me to continue. Oh, that's why I'm using the wrong end. So I'm going to get back to that with this here now that I kind of think I've figured out what I want to do. Even during COVID, that's amazing. You're in Idaho. That's wonderful. That is so freaking cool. Yeah, never give up. Never give up. I'm not giving up either. No way am I giving up. And you get tested, that's for sure, right? You definitely get tested. Not for COVID, but you just get tested by the universe of like, how bad do you really want it? That's so cool. That's so cool that you're able to run a successful business that way. Is the garage on your own property? That's so cool. That's quite the project, renovating to create it into a studio too, eh? That's a project all on its own. A big project all on its own. So do you supply what they can paint on? They just have to show up? Because that would be cool, eh? And you just have a whole bunch of different things that they can choose from. Intensely challenging. I wanted to quit so many times. I bet. Super excited for you though, Mary. So how long have you been operating out of your renovated studio? So this is the assembly line part of the process that I was mentioning that I did last time. I just want to go through and try and get the next step in the design done on all of the stones. You can make them a little bit different from stone to stone if you want to, but this can be really gratifying because it feels like you make a lot of progress fairly quickly. And this is just one of 7 colors of the chakras, right? So still have a long way to go before the sets are done, but they will be. This week is going to be a little bit busy as far as availability to be painting. But it'll get done. It'll all get done. I'd like to have these done for the market. I'm going to do a bunch more mugs for the market. I've got a bunch of stuff that I'm hoping to get done. Well, that was just a painted line there. That didn't do any good. That was not dotted. So I'm going to wipe that off and see if I can find my black paint. So I use these for, dotting tools that have these silicone brushes at the end. And then I will use that to pull some of the paint off if I make a mistake. And then I go in with a little teeny tiny paintbrush, or sometimes even with a dotting tool, and paint back over in the base coat color. So that's what I'm going to do right now. When they register for the class, I have them choose what they want to paint, so I'm prepared. April, that's amazing. That is so amazing. Good for you. Whoops. That is so freaking cool. Now you're living the dream. How often do you do classes, Mary? Yeah, these tiny ones do definitely require a lot of patience. and in a lot of ways, a very stable mindset for the day too, right? Like, this is not the kind of project that you can work on if you are having a day with a short temper or anything like that, or that you are in a hurry for anything. So it's definitely, it definitely takes a certain kind of day to be able to do this. And that's one of my favorite things to do, is just to wake up and go, what do I want to paint today? Right? What do I want to work on? And to be able to kind of follow that flow. But that is also why I have so many half-finished projects. Varies. I have a day job, so I have to work around that. I also do private parties, private lessons. Oh, that's amazing. Yes, so what I'm going to be doing, excuse me, with these, Cindy, is I've got to have 7 stones with the colors of the chakras, and they are going to make up chakra stone sets. So each set will have, so there's going to be red stones, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, and indigo. And that will make up the chakra stone sets. And yeah, you'll have a full set for all of the major chakras anyway. I always still want to say chakra instead of chakra. So yeah, each set is going to have 1 stone with each color. So these sets are going to have 7 stones in total. I'm sorry I don't have any music on, guys. I've been having videos not uploading to YouTube properly when I've had music playing in the background. So you're most welcome, Mary. It's been an absolute joy. I'm happy to interact with you anytime. Are you feeling that too, Kavitha? You're getting a lot of cutting in and out. I know Elizabeth was having some frustration on that. It was cutting out an awful lot today. It's so hard to predict when it's going to act up like that, eh? So I'm sorry if it's been choppy for you. Yeah, I know Elizabeth was having some frustration with that earlier too, that it was just cutting in and out all the time, which is hard because I've got steady signal here. I keep looking at my little adapter to make sure I've got all green lights to know that it's working, but it's still completely contingent. Like, so I use a cell phone signal booster out here in the camper. Oh, and by the way, this is the first Saturday that I'm out in the camper doing this. I didn't have to pack everything up and move everything into the house and do all of that. We're in the camper today. See? We're in my little tiny home. There's Miss Audrey up on the bed. So yeah, I'm in the camper today. In my little studio in the camper. It's better with no music. Okay, good. Good, I'm glad. I think on some of, like, it's easier when I'm doing like a TikTok live to have music because you don't get shut down for having music on, and then I can edit out the sound, right? But for these, because these get the recording of today will get uploaded to my Patreon, and in order to do that, I've got to go through YouTube. It's a little bit more finicky with the rules. I know, it's so exciting that I'm out here now. I have so much work to do out here. I kind of did a little bit, my friend's husband came out today and we did kind of an inventory because we want to get septic dug, and get me moved into my permanent location. I posted a video on that the other day if you want to check that out, where it shows where I'm at now and where I'm going to go to. So we kind of went through the list of things that need to be done and started to kind of prioritize them and say, okay, what has to be done and what doesn't have to be done before the move and to get ready for the move. So we kind of got a good list together and started kind of figuring out what those things are. The list for before the move and to be prepared for the move of the camper is relatively small, thankfully. So, but the list of stuff to do after or as time and money presents itself is quite long. But that's okay. There's no hurry. I think it's going to be next spring before I can start on a lot of the interior renovations. But what I'm hoping to be able to do is over the winter, maybe start painting some of the cabinets and start getting some mandalas painted like physically on the cabinets. I think that would be so cool. So it's coming. We're making progress. And now that I have this cell phone signal booster, now I got internet and I can stream and I can do all of that fun stuff from out here, which is incredibly exciting. But it's not solid Wi-Fi, right? So I'm still kind of held hostage to whatever the signal happens to be doing outside. But someday. My goal is eventually to get onto Starlink, which is a satellite internet service that I've heard is absolutely amazing and incredibly reliable. But they pick and choose how many they put on in certain service areas, and there's no openings in my area until summer or fall of 2022. So we're just going to have to make do with the cell phone signal booster until then. So hopefully it behaves itself, and hopefully for the most part we can do some of this streaming without too many issues. But I do apologize if you're having a lot of cutting in and out today. Because I know that's frustrating when you're trying to watch something, so I'm sorry to hear that that's happening. But it's pretty exciting. Pretty exciting. We're making progress. Ooh. And it's funny because you can really come up with a long list of stuff that needs to be done, but it's significantly shorter when it's what has to be done. What needs to be done for basic survival, right? So it's nice to be able to kind of pare down that list a bit and make it a little less intimidating. So getting around these edges can still be really difficult. So if you are ever working on things that are this tiny, make sure you give yourself the time and permission to put it aside and let it dry a little bit before you continue handling it. That's something very common. And it's one of the things that I like about this kind of assembly line process, is because by the time I do this part of the design on all the remaining sets of stones, or the remaining stones, by the time I get back to the first stone again, it should be, if not completely dry, very close to dry. which makes it easier to handle. As opposed to if you are just working on one thing, then you have to put it down, wait for half an hour to an hour, then come back to it again. And it can be really slow moving on a project when that's the direction that you have to go. I just looked up Starlink, didn't even know about the service. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too. It's a big ticket item. You know, I had someone said, "Oh, I've got a solution for you. It's easy. It's Starlink." I'm like, "Do you have $600? Because I certainly don't." You know, like I need to save up $750 to get the septic dug just so that I can poop in my own home. You know, never mind internet access. This cell phone adapter was a really good option because it was, I think it came to $270. So, I mean, it was still a big, a decent chunk of money, but at the same time, you know, it was definitely the more economical. And I already have a cell phone plan that has unlimited data, so it wasn't going to cost me any more money with an additional plan. So keep that in mind if that's ever something that you need to look at in any of your travels or with your setups and everything. The cell phone signal booster, if you have unlimited data on your phone, can be a big, big plus and a big helper there. And $50 for shipping, right? Like just cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. My 5-year-old son is in earshot and he giggled about the poop comment. Poop always makes people laugh. Everybody poops. But it's so funny when you have to think about that sort of stuff. It's like, you know, yeah, I could have internet, but I would also like to, you know, have septic and water, or eventually save up and be able to get a new battery because I need a new battery. And they're $700 for a new battery. If I don't have a battery, my fridge doesn't work. Like, there's all these different things that add up really, really fast. And especially it's really tough when you want to get at the fun stuff, right? Like, I really want to get at painting the walls and painting the cupboards and all of that stuff. I'm like, that's a couple grand down the way of other things that need to be done first. So we're just going to do what we need to do to get to make sure that it survives, and then just keep saving up and hitting up projects as the time comes. Sometimes it's hard to be patient though. Hey, Jerry Lynn. Good for you. That's amazing. Let me know how you like it, eh? I've heard incredible things about it, that it's incredibly reliable and incredibly fast and all of the things that you want. So it's definitely not a question of whether it's a good investment or not. That's for sure. It's just logistics. But I was telling my friend's husband, I said, my mom is completely convinced that she is going to win the early bird draw for the Sick Kids Lottery this year. And if that's the case, then it's $800,000. And she put my name on the ticket. She's like, so by the end of the month, you could have 400 grand in your bank account. I'm like, sure. Okay. Well, then I won't worry about anything. Oh, thanks, Paula. Yeah, I'd love to hear about that. That'd be fantastic. Enjoy your errands. I hope that you have a good afternoon. It was lovely to see you. I'm glad you were able to pop in. HughesNet is way more expensive for less options, right? Like, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy that some of the options that you have are so not cost effective and for poorer quality. So that's why, yeah, this was a game changer. This was, in my mind, $270 very well spent. I can get more work done. I can stay connected with you guys. I don't have to move around. So this, are we here? Are we still here, everybody? I hope you're still here. I cut out for a bit there. I got a message saying my signal wasn't any good. So I apologize for that, but I hope you're still here. My favorite multi-surface paint for mugs and glass would be, in order, folk art, Craft Smart, and very, very, very close behind Craft Smart would be Deco Art. But Folk Art's my favorite. Now, I do have an affiliation with them, but that is not why they're my favorite. I have the affiliation because that paint was already my favorite, and I'm like, ooh, I love this paint. Yes, I want to be affiliated. So I love folk art paints. I like the thick consistency. I like that it doesn't risk running down the sides of my projects. Deco Art and Craft Smart can be a little bit more watery. My absolute least favorite is Apple Barrel. I cannot handle Apple Barrel. It is frustration after frustration after frustration. Now, I've never used anything like the Artezas, or I don't even know if Arteza has a multi-surface option or not. Yeah, Folk Art's my favorite. And I like that Folk Art has a lot of colors that I can use right out of the bottle too. But Deco Art is really good too, and you can find it fairly inexpensively at a lot of places. I get my Deco Art multi-surface paints from a dollar store, believe it or not, in Lindsay, Ontario. And I get it for $1.25 a bottle. So there are places that you can find Deco Art in that's less expensive. Craft Smart they've got really nice metallics. But I find that Craft Smart take a significantly longer amount of time to dry. I think because they're just more fluid paints anyway. So Deco Art, for Craft Smart, I would let them dry even longer. I don't. So what I've been told is for multi-surface paints to never thin them if you don't have to, because it can impact how they adhere. Now, when it comes to using their regular acrylics on canvas and stone, yes, it is very common to have to thin folk art paints. And I'll thin either with a few drops of water. Sometimes I'll use pouring medium. It really depends. Water has worked fairly well for me with folk art regular acrylic paints for thinning them. But you literally want to go one drop at a time, because one drop too much water it literally can go that much. One drop too many can be a problem. I use a little squeeze bottle like this, and I fill it with water. And I use that to add when I'm thinning the paints. All right, so I've got all of the gold walking dots done. So now I'm going to go back through and do the row of red. How are we doing for time, folks? What time is it? I don't have my clock with me, and if I jump out of this, then it's going to kick me out completely. How are we doing for time? Someone who's in Eastern time zone, if you could give me a time check, that would be awesome. I forgot to turn my iPad on so that I could see it. Thanks, Christy. Perfect. Yay, good. So we still have some time. Wonderful. Awesome. Thanks, Jerry Lynn. You guys are amazing. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. So now I'm going to go through all of the stones and do these red walking dots. And then as the stones get filled, I put them aside, knowing that that stone is complete once they're filled with the design. And then I will just continue with the process with the remaining stones, because they're all different sizes. I'll be jumping off in a few minutes, still working today and have a meeting soon. Oh, thank you for joining, Mary. It was really good to spend time with you. It was really fun to chat, and completely inspired by you opening your own studio and everything. That is so freaking cool. Just reminds me, like you said, never give up, right? Keep going. Gotta keep going. Someone asked me, I did a joint live with Delicate Dots Andrea, and people had submitted questions, and somebody said, what is your goal for your art career? And my answer is, I want to thrive. I want to make enough money that I can thrive, right? And then help other people thrive in their journey, whether it's art or not. But I really want to be able to thrive. And that will include all of those things like starting a studio, being able to travel around and teach workshops, and all of the fun stuff that goes along with it. Yes, you too, Mary. Definitely. And now I have to make sure I go to Idaho when I start traveling around eventually one day with a camper. Wouldn't that be fun? So sometimes I'll hold stones like this. I call it the hamburger hold. Because it's how I hold a hamburger. Very technical stuff here. And it's always going to center around food. I'm working on updating all of my links, and I've been able to add like a tip jar on there. And instead of calling it a tip jar, though, I call it the baguette fund, because for those of you that know me, I do love me a baguette. I got myself a baguette for dinner tonight, and I'm so excited. But I called it my baguette fund. Thriving is a fun thing to think about, right? Because it's different for everybody. Your definition of thriving is different than my definition of thriving. And I think that it helps, instead of going based off of, I want to be successful. Well, success is different for everybody as well, right? I think everybody just, I feel like everybody just really wants to feel like they're thriving. Like, yeah, life is good. I'm getting up and I'm enjoying what I do, and I don't worry about paying bills, and I know I'm taken care of, and all of those sorts of things. But thinking about it in terms of thriving to me was much more fun than thinking about success. Because I have a lot of negative beliefs that surround success, and a lot of negative beliefs around money that I am trying to learn how to change those beliefs, right? And thriving, thinking of it in terms of thriving, has definitely made it easier, for me anyway, to be able to envision that. And that's the sort of stuff I sit and focus on when I'm painting, when I'm here with my own thoughts, and it's quiet, and it's just my time. Those are the things that I like to focus on, right? I like to focus on that sort of stuff so that it's like setting an intention before meditation, right? When you can set an intention before meditation, then you can potentially get something very specific out of it, right? You can ask for specific pieces of clarity. So if that sort of thing, you know, the positive self-talk and things like that has always been an issue for me, but with this type of art form, I find that I've been able to really sink into it a lot. My absolute favorite thing to do while I'm painting is to throw on some Abraham Hicks YouTube videos. That stuff gets me pumped up. That stuff gets me feeling super high vibe. Or some good, of course, Jason Mraz, or some good music or something that just helps me feel good and light. And then it's easy to think about the happier, lighter things as well, right? I've got to try and change the way that I hold this without wiping off the dots that I just did. That's part of it too with the tiny stuff, right? Oops, perhaps it's best if I'm in camera. So when it comes to these tutorials, you guys, what other things would you like to see? I know I've put posts up before and I've seen specific designs be requested there, and I will be getting to those, but that was kind of the extent of what I had, right? I had a lot of very specific designs, and like I said, I just couldn't start another design and not finish it today. Are there any particular techniques or topics that you would like me to focus on in these tutorials? If there is, you can shoot me a message, you can mention it on the Facebook group, you can tell me here, but I would love your feedback on, what direction you'd like to see me go in. One of the things, though, that is something that I am sticking with over the next little while at least, is not planning the tutorial topics too far in advance. I found that made things very feel a little too fabricated for me. I found it very difficult to kind of get into flow and to be constantly inspired, because I might wake up that one day and go, oh, but I really don't want to paint that design today, So having kind of a pool of things to draw from is always really helpful. So if you have any ideas or anything specific that you'd like to see me cover, please let me know. I've also thought about inviting some other artists to see if they would want to jump on and do some lives with me on here and talk about their techniques, talk about what they do in dot painting, and dot painting and dot mandalas are very different things as well, right? Like, dot painting means taking dots and making an image out of it. So dot mandalas is definitely a subsect of dot painting, but there's so much more to dot painting than just mandalas. Whereas I prefer to focus on mandalas, right? They're my thing. Mandalas are my thing that I just enjoy more than anything else. So that's why I'm always doing mandalas and exploring different ways to do mandalas outside of dot painting as well. Right? I do the drawn mandalas and the painted mandalas. And so as long as it has to do with mandalas, it's something that I can jump in and do. So if there is any other technique of mandala that you have seen that intrigues you, that's not dot painting, that you want me to kind of talk about, even if it's something that I don't already know, I can usually take a look at something and get an idea of what to do and start to kind of figure some of that stuff out and figure out where the learning resources are and all of that good stuff. So if you think of anything, just like I said, let me know. I'm going to go around this way because then I can hold my tool in a consistent way here. It's funny because I know that doing it this way, like always doing all of the right side and then going and doing all of the left side, I know how good it works for me. I know that I am faster. I know I produce more consistent work, but for some reason I keep going back to doing one side and then the other. Do you think you'll get tired of mandalas? Anything's possible. Sure. Totally possible. Totally possible. I don't feel that I'm close to that happening. I feel like there are so many facets of just the mandala art form itself that I haven't even begun to explore yet. So I don't think I'm close to that. But yeah, anything is definitely possible, right? But yeah, I don't feel that happening anytime soon. Thankfully. Because like when I think about mandalas, I'm like, okay, so I can learn watercolor, I can learn multimedia, I can learn kind of the filigree stuff. I can get more into drawing and maybe working with gouache paint. I've always wanted to do that. There's so many possibilities, right? I could get into sculpture. I've got tons of patterns pinned on my Pinterest account of doing crochet mandalas, right? Macrame mandalas. Oh, good. You're happy with that answer? Good. I'm glad. Like I want to do crochet mandalas and macrame mandalas and more drawn mandalas and large watercolor mandalas and paint different types. There's so many different types out there, and I'm so not done trying all the different stuff yet. So not done. One of the other things too, I think I've mentioned it a few times, is that way back when I signed up for a course, an online course in sacred geometry. And I'm going to start sharing what I'm learning on that as well, because again, now that I've got internet out here, I'm going to start working on that course to finish it, because there's a whole module in this course on mandalas and the spiritual meaning behind mandalas and how sacred geometry plays into all of that sort of stuff. So I will definitely share that as well. If you're interested in a course like that, I got mine from an online course provider called Center of Excellence, CENTRE. I actually found them on Facebook. And they have all kinds of, you can have courses, they have courses there from everything from accounting and budget planning and personal finance to Reiki and crystal therapy and what to plant in your garden so that you have more fairies. Like there's so much cool stuff on there. The course that I got was a $200 course. However, they very, very often will have their courses on sale for £29 because it's a British pounds currency. So for $50, you can get some of these really cool courses. There's a ton of courses. There's an animal communication course on there. I'm dying to take it. And I mean, these modules are no joke. They are like, you need to remember stuff about Freud and Pythagoras and all of these different mathematicians and everything. And there's tests, and it's intense. It is no joke for sure. But I got it, and then I just never finished it. So I'm going to start kind of working my way through that again and see, because I'd like to understand a lot more of the spiritual aspect behind this, rather than the real basic knowledge that I have of it right now. And yeah, I want to try and offer some courses too, to be able to say, hey, you're brand new. Here's a beginner course. We'd go through tools, we go through substrates, we go through all of that sort of stuff. So, so many things to keep me busy, which ties back again to Janice. Now, I don't think I'm getting tired of it anytime soon. I got so much on deck. I spent a couple of days revamping my website a bit as well. So all kinds of different stuff coming. What other questions do you guys have? Do you guys have any questions that have you've been thinking about, or anything on your mind that I can help you with at all? Mm-hmm. There's so much to running this business that has nothing to do with painting mandalas, right? And it's so it makes it hard sometimes when that stuff kind of takes over and painting doesn't happen. Like I haven't painted in a couple of days because there's just been so much other stuff going on. But So it feels really good to be back to painting again, and it's something that I want to make sure that I do something of every single day, because I want to keep my skills fresh. It's amazing when you revisit a technique or a pattern that you haven't done in a while. In a lot of ways, it feels like you're relearning the whole thing all over again. So keeping that sort of stuff fresh and really practicing is definitely key. Hi, Jan. How you doing, love? You're welcome, Kavitha. Most welcome. See, and I almost did it again. I almost started doing both sides and switching back and forth. And it's so funny because I'm faster, I'm more accurate, I'm more consistent when I don't, but I still catch myself doing that all the time. So funny, eh? Oh, good, I'm glad. I'm doing good. I'm doing really good, thank you. We're out in the camper today, Jan. We're not doing classes in the house anymore. It's so exciting. I have this dream that eventually I'd like to get a shed, a great big shed, and turn it into a workshop here on the farm and have that be where I, and create a little parking lot somewhere so people can come up and be able to take classes here with me on the farm. I think that'd be so fun. Bye, Kavitha. It was wonderful to see you. Sending you lots of love. Right? So exciting, eh? It's the little things. All right, so this is where we are at. So I'm going to do my top dots on this stone because then this stone is going to be completely done. So I'm going to do my top dots on this one. And then I will have 2 stones completely done. And then when I switch to the other colors, I'm not going to be repeating the same designs. I'm going to make sure that I mix it up a little bit. And there we go. That little dude is done. So now what I'm doing now is I am deciding of these stones that are left, which ones do I want to kind of finish in the same way. And I actually think that I want to, what do I want to do? Okay, well, I'm going to go through with the gold dots for each of them because then on the bigger ones I can, I can build around it. All right, so let's go here with the gold, and let me get my camera back and we'll go in here. And when this particular paint, like I mentioned, is really thick, right? But look at all that sparkle. But it's really thick, and see how it kind of behaves almost like it's almost like a mousse, right? That can sometimes, when it's more moussey and less fluidy, that can have an impact on what happens when you lay your dots down, okay? So making sure that if you have a paint like this that's very much like a mousse as opposed to a fluid, that you always give the time to stir to make sure that it's mixed up properly, right? Because then what happens is sometimes this paint, it doesn't, you can think you have the right amount of paint on your tool only to have none of it flow off of your tool. So it's not always about the amount of paint on your tool, it's about the paint and whether it can flow off the tool nicely, right? So if you're having a hard time with a particular paint, go easy on yourself, especially if it's a paint that is a little bit thicker in that sense. Okay, so I'm going to keep going here. Now I'm craving mousse. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Here we go. I laugh at myself every time I say here we go, because I say it all the time. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, here we go. And I don't even know why I say it. Anybody else have that happen where they have something that they say and they don't even realize they say it and they don't even know why they say it? I hope I'm not the only one that does that. So here, oops. There we go. See? Crap. Now what am I gonna do? Dun, 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 dun. Okay, I need a different size because I have an idea. So I'm going to start with small. So I now have 1, 2, 3. So I have 9 sets of stones. I have now 3 that still need the top, 2 that are completely done, 2 stones that are completely done of the red ones. 3 that need, so I've got 2 that are done, which are over here. Those 2 are done. These 3 down here need the red top dots on top of the gold. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4 that are a little bit larger and still have some more space. So now I'm going to work with the design just for these 4 that have the extra space. And we'll fill in that space, and then these guys should be done. So I'm still going to do my assembly line. It's just only going to have 4 stones in the assembly line now instead of 9. And I'm going to add these little gold dots. There we go. This gold, like, it sparkles like no other gold that I have ever used. It is freaking fantastic. It's a folk art as well. It is, which gold is it? Is it pure gold? Let's see. I gotta open up the bottles to tell which one it is. No, pure gold. Folk art has a few different golds. And I've got a lot of them. Oh, maybe, you know what? This one might not be, this one might be a deco art one. Let me see if this is the one. Yeah, this is the one. So the one I'm using right now is deco art. Whoops, that's way too big. Woo-hoo-hoo. Deco art champagne gold in the metallics. That's the gold that I'm using if you are curious. And now the song, Hey Boy, Hey Girl. Superstar DJ, here we go. Oh my God, that's amazing. I'm so amazing that that's where your mind went. I love it. Spectacular. So many reasons. So many reasons why I love you, Christy. So I'm going to do large gold dots after this, and they will be the centers of another round of petals out towards the edge. That will also get the red top dots just like they did in the row before. So the red is the root chakra. That is the energy center that is tied to a lot of our physical needs, physical survival. The root chakra is one that when you have a nice clear flowing energy center, that that you end up, it's the thriving, right? Yeah, it's in my head now too. It's definitely in my head too, Christy. 100%. Oh, I might not do petals, actually. I might just do another little tiny gold dot on the other side and have it be, thinking. At least on this one anyway. Yep, this one is just going to get another small gold dot on the other side. So what I mean by that is another gold dot right here and here. Okay, and now this one is going to go into the stack that just needs some red top dots. And let's do the same with this one. My two bigger ones might not work out this way, but they still might too, actually. They just might. All right, well, let's keep going, because it would feel really, really good to finish these red ones. Because what should happen is by the time I'm done painting all of these with these gold dots, I should be able to go back to the other ones that I've been painting, and they should be ready for their red top dots. So we might be able to actually finish this. We might go over time a little bit, but we'll see. Now, it is going to take me a bit of time to get this uploaded to YouTube, but and to be able to send it out to the Patreon, but we'll see. And you know what? This now makes me want to do this. So now I'm going back to my original one, and I'm putting another gold dot on the ends, just like so, because that's just too cute. I've got a little bit of touch up, some smudges on here that I'm going to go in with a little teeny tiny black paintbrush and some black paint. But yeah, oh, that just finishes it. I love it. Love it. All right, now this one. Dink. It's amazing how something so tiny and so subtle can make a big difference in how you feel about a piece. All right, I'll finish that after. So this one now, we go here. I miss music trivia, Christy. I'm going for my second shot next Wednesday. So then I can actually do some of that stuff. If and when that ever comes to be a thing again. All right, let's bring this one back. Oh yeah, this little extra tiny dot makes all the difference in the world, I think. It's amazing what something so tiny can do. Shots, shots, shots. can do this without making a mess. And now this one. One more there. Okay. Put that aside. That one's aside. We'll do this one. And then I should be able to go in and start doing top dots, which would be fantastic. So I don't know if I'm going to use the gold with all of the different colors. That's something I'm going to have to kind of play around with a little. I feel like some of the colors might be better with silver, but I don't know how that's going to impact a set. So I'm going to have to play around with that a little bit and see what feels like it's going to work and what feels like it's not. But don't feel like you have to make decisions too far in advance, and don't feel like you can't change your mind once you start doing something. You can always change your mind. Okay, Marisa one. Ooh. So once I get into the orange, and like with the orange, I might not even add any metallics. It might just be multiple shades of orange and use some yellow to make it look like it's kind of fiery. I haven't really gotten that far yet. There's a part of me that wants to put some yellow and orange on the tops of these too, but I'm not really sure that that's gonna go. But again, you can always try ideas like that, right? Because you can always paint over it if it doesn't work out the way you wanted it to. I think that looks pretty good, eh? I think that looks nice. All right, so let's go back then to these guys, and I should be able to do the top dots now. That one was painted sooner, so let's go to this one. Let's go here. Let's go with the red. There we go. And I just did it again. There we go. What do you think? Do you like it? Well, and that's a really good point, Jan. Yeah, putting other colors, you want to keep it simple. So I'll have to figure out the metallics then for yellow and for orange. They might just stick with gold. That might be the way to go for those ones, is just to stick with gold, eh? Oops. Ah, thank you, Christy. Yep, there we go. I'm happy with these. And I'm excited to try the other colors, right? And see what I can come up with for different designs to make them look even more, like, keep them looking different from each other. I'm excited to see how these sets come together. I really do want to, you know, read up on each chakra before I start painting and try and set an intention while I'm painting them to go, you know, put that energy into the stone. I love the color gold, right? Yeah. Do you think that the yellow and the orange will look okay with it too? I guess just got to try it and find out, eh? And it's so funny because growing up, I never liked gold. I was always silver. But when it comes to painting on here, even with my jewelry, I still prefer silver jewelry or white gold. But it's just, these golds just make the colors pop so so differently than silver tends to, unless it's the right color of silver maybe too, right? These ones, I'm happy with these. I'm really happy with these. All right, so let's see. The nice part about the craft acrylics as well, when you're not painting on multi-surface, the previous dot doesn't even really have to be dry, right? You can just start slapping paint on there and it's still gonna do fine. Oops, sorry. Yeah, I really like these. I'm happy. I am happy. And I like to sing a little song when I'm happy to celebrate. They're almost done. Put you aside. We got one more, and then this is done. The red ones are done. The root chakra, sorry, is clear. That feels good. Always remember too that these are not a good indication of how long they will take you to do on your own, because if you're sitting, remember how much I'm sitting around and talking while we're doing all of this, right? So making sure that, just remember that it's not going to be this long. Like, it's not going to take you 4 hours to do 9 of these stones. It's just not going to happen that way. So again, the numbers don't have anything to do with size and everything to do with just which set they belong to. Set number 9, set number 5, set number 2. So this is just where I'm putting them to dry fully until I'm ready to varnish. It just keeps them there, keeps them set on a nice little tray, and I can move it around a lot easier than, oh, there we go. I can move them around a lot easier than having to move them one stone at a time. So use what you've got around you to make your life as easy as possible. Especially if you're someone like me who recognizes how often they do things that do not make life easy. When you do recognize something that makes easier, jump all over it. Take care, Janice. Have a good rest of your day. Yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to grow up. That sounds boring. They will look good. I just did a record with yellow and gold next to it. Oh, excellent. Awesome, Jerry Lynn. I need to talk to you too about prepping records. I've got like 15 record albums sitting in a little storage bag that I've never touched. And so I want to talk to you about that. I'll shoot you a message. So just a little refresher. There's the pink piggy bank now with all of its top dots. So I'm going to do a little design down by the bum. For a little, kind of like I do the handle detail on the mugs. And then here is the blue one that is drying, and then I'll be able to add top dots to this one. And then I'm going to start on the purple. I do have a purple piggy bank, and I mentioned at the beginning too that I'm going to be scouring Dollaramas for the next little while to see if I can get more piggy banks, because these are the only 3 that I have. And they are all sold. They are sold before they are finished. Oh, and I just look at how cute they are just sitting there. Oh, love it. All right. Isn't he wonderful? Like, they're fantastic. Like, I just looked at these guys and I'm like, you all have to come home with me. So I'm really, really optimistic and hopeful for tomorrow for a little bit of a shopping spree to go and find more of the piggy banks. I need more. I need more. If you guys have any questions at all, you guys know where to find me. Thank you so much for choosing to come and spend some time with me today. I really appreciate all of the love and the support that you guys give me, and I am over the moon when I'm able to help you out and maybe make your lives a little bit easier, or maybe give you a little inspiration, whatever it is. I'm just grateful for you guys. Thank you for spending time with me today, and I will look forward to seeing you again very, very soon. Sending you lots and lots of love, you guys. Mwah! Bye-bye. I'm going to go eat a baguette. Bye.